Up with Jordan and Ron.
Hi, welcome to Hooking Up with Jordan and Ron. I'm Jordan.
I'm Ron.
Welcome to our show today. We are here to revisit a previously touched on topic that both of us have a bit of experience with, I'd
Yes,
say.
and our-
Some
our,
more than others or different.
Listeners have been begging for us to continue.
Yes. They were like, wait, dating apps part 1? What about part 2? Well, here we are. Part 2 is today.
Yeah. So to catch up a little bit, it's just the two of us today.
It is.
We are on episode 6 of our second season already.
Whoa.
We have had some amazing guests, as
We're
you
really lucky.
well know. Continue to listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts, and like and subscribe, right? And
Please do. It matters a lot. It ends up, kind of the metrics behind the scenes. It's helpful to us to see that. So
yeah.
it may not seem like it matters, but it sure does.
Yeah, it does. And it lets us know where to gear future shows. When we hear
Yeah.
it from you, some people have been dropping us a line. Drop us a line, hooking up with Jordan and Ron at gmail.com. Someday we'll have a short one for you, to bring to the same. But it's an easy way to remember it. And just drop us a line. Let us know what you're hearing, what you're liking, what you'd like to hear. Or if you'd like to be on the show and you think you've got a great angle for meeting adult
Absolutely.
friends, talk to us.
I think I'm going to start just asking people when I hang out with them,
Yeah.
What do you want to hear about? Or who do you know that would be a good guest? Or
Yeah.
is it you? And
Yeah.
you might say, hey, I'm a great guest. Well, great.
Yeah, I've been doing that too. And it's really interesting to see the numbers spike. The more
Yep.
interesting our speakers, the more, interest we have.
Sure.
And they tell their friends and their friends tell their friends.
Yes.
And, we've had a lot of listeners. When we had the therapist on, his numbers
Oh,
were
yeah.
like through the roof. When we had the representative from the recovery community,
Yes.
her numbers went through the roof. And because, all those folks listened and shared.
topics.
And that actually, I understand at one of their sessions, they talked about that at one of their meetings.
Oh, wow.
Because, she talked about, people are meeting each other, even though you're not
Sure.
supposed to really be dating for a while.
Sure.
And all those people listen, like, how does this work? What can I
Right.
do? What are my options?
Right.
So absolutely, let us know who you'd like to hear from. Drop us a line, listen, and let us know if you want to be on. If you're here in Ann Arbor, a couple new things have opened. Our gay bar opened.
Yay.
We were gay bar-less for
We
4
were-
years.
I mean, I think gay people were welcome everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
but-
Well, that
but not
changed
really
over
a
the last
space
decade.
just for the queer community.
Yeah.
I think that's how the bar identifies, is that it's a part of the queer community.
Right, accepting of all.
Mhm.
It's in downtown Ann Arbor in the
Mhm.
entertainment district called Uplift.
Uplift, yep.
And-
the logo looks kind of like a light bulb or like a question mark light bulb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's really cool.
Mhm.
And they have a nice space. It's right in the heart of the entertainment district
Yeah,
there on
right next to
First.
Cirque. Hmm.
Yeah. And ironically, I have not been there yet.
I have been there
Many
a few
times, I hear.
Well, many is a generous term.
Yes.
A few times. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And is it nice?
It is. It's very nice. Great music, great crowd. Being a straight woman there is an interesting dynamic where I have to admit, going into a regular bar and you're being looked at and you're being looked at, but it's in a different way somehow. So I don't know. I hope that doesn't sound,
No, that's
ignorant or
exactly what it
naive,
is. No, no.
and you kind of want to be sure you are welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, how do I say that?
No, I think that's absolutely right.
Okay,
But then I think it very
Maybe
quickly,
not welcome, but like wanted
is this person going to be okay?
or interested.
Yeah.
That's even the wrong term. Or I'm not there to actively date. I mean, it's you
Right.
have to basically, at least in my mind, I'm assuming that no one's straight.
Yeah, yeah. But I think the opposite side of that is that the gay guys will look at you going, is this going to be my new bestie?
I hope so.
You know?
Is
Yeah.
that still a thing?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah,
for a while, I had and still have a number of gay men that are really close friends of mine.
Yeah, I've got a lot of female friends who are straight that
Yeah.
are close to me.
But I'm curious. Is that dynamic
Oh,
still
it's absolutely
part
still
of the
there.
equation? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
Yes,
cool.
absolutely.
And if not, then no problem. Whatever. But
Yeah.
it is a fun dynamic.
Yeah. No, when we had Outbar, it was very different because
Yeah.
that was very just kind of a general community. A lot of gay and lesbian
Sure.
folks hung out there. And of
And
course, it
older.
was identified as a gay and lesbian crowd, but it was more community.
Yep.
It was older. And anybody could go there and feel
Right.
very, very comfortable. Later in the evening, it got a little bit more,
Yeah.
hook-uppy,
For
but,
sure.
but certainly not at dinner time. And, they were
Uh-huh.
also a restaurant.
Right.
So,
There is something more clubby about the environment at Uplift.
Mhm.
It reminds me less of like a community bar setting or just like comfort setting, and more of a going out, dancing, night on the town
Sure.
vibes.
Oh, sure. And we've been
Mhm.
waiting for that.
Right.
That's something. Well,
Which is in that part of the
yeah,
area, right? So
yeah,
Cirque, that live.
yeah. Oh, there used to be another one right on the
Yeah, isn't
corner
there
there. But there's
Yeah.
still Necto. People still go to the Necto,
Sure.
but that's very young. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
If you're over the age of
It's a
30,
giant space.
it's
I
a
feel
giant
like there's
space.
got to be a different way
It also
to
fills
manage
in
that.
though with college kids and
Right.
high school kids
Yeah.
sneaking in. And it's still the fake
Ooh.
ID kind of place to go.
That's
You know,
true.
I'm not trying to insult Necto. They're very nice
No,
people
I mean,
there.
they had 19 and over nights when I
Yeah,
was a kid.
I believe they still do.
Okay.
I think they still
Yeah.
do. But it definitely attracts a younger. That's very much a dance club crowd.
It is.
over
It
there.
is.
Yeah.
Right.
But for adults, 35, 40 and over,
Right.
there haven't been that many options recently. If you're gay, yeah.
Mhm. But no, Uplift is really nice, great staff. I did get a chance to meet one of the owners. I think there's 2 or 3 owners. But the one I met, his name is Soharsh, super nice guy. And I think he splits time between West Coast and Midwest somehow as
Yeah.
well.
Well, and Keith and Martin, who owned Outbar, very much are in support of Uplift. So go
Awesome.
check it out
Oh,
if
that's
you want
awesome.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to be gay or lesbian to go there.
Yeah, we should
Go
have
check
them
it
on
out.
the show.
Yeah, we absolutely should.
Awesome.
We'll see if we can. That would be
Okay.
great to have them on. They can
Cool.
talk about how they created the space, why
Uh-huh.
why it's located where it is, and all that
Sure.
kind of stuff. They've got a great story to tell.
Oh, I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Nice.
There'll be some new things opening up in the Ann Arbor area as
Mhm.
well. So, we'll kind of update you as they do.
Mhm.
But let's get back to this topic at hand.
I know.
Mhm.
I think in our last couple episodes there was a moment where I mentioned that I was kind of taking a break
Yes.
from the dating world, and I've since re-entered. And that just happens, every time from now and again. But this time of year, it's holiday time. So,
is.
Thanksgiving's this week, Christmas is coming up, New Year's, other
Yeah,
holidays,
Christmas
and so
is
forth.
1 month from yesterday.
Wow. That's hard to believe.
It is.
But it's true. And that's also something that I don't know if people are familiar with this term. I remember learning this term in Chicago, cuffing season, which is where the typically maybe unpartnered folks of the world are partnering up for the winter.
Yes.
So
That's a great
definitely
term.
check that out, right? Well, is it though? Like,
I love that term. I love that.
I feel like there could be another word, but nonetheless.
Unless you were cuffed during the pandemic, in which case you're probably hoping during the winter nobody comes to your house.
Okay,
right?
okay. Maybe there's been a pattern, a change.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a summer cuffing, there's a winter cuffing.
Yeah, I think that-
and
I
are
think
people
there's-
really interested in a long-term thing, or is it just momentary?
Well, probably both or short.
Okay.
There are people that are looking for short-term relationships, and this would certainly be the time you would look for that. You go to each other's houses. You don't necessarily go out every night. You don't want
Yeah.
to go out. It's, if you're here in the Midwest,
Mhm.
it snows starting Friday
Uh-huh.
through next March, and I think there's absolutely something very much
Right.
to that,
Part of what motivated me to re-enter the dating space and the apps and so forth, I've never left the apps, but I've just not cared
Yeah.
sometimes for a
Yeah.
while. Or not spent much time on it, which actually is fun because then you re-enter and there's a bazillion people on there to take a look at, because you haven't been in there for a week.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Uh-oh. And one thing that motivated me was listening to an episode of Jonathan Van Ness's, Jonathan Van Ness
Yes.
from Queer Eye?
Yes.
His podcast, or one of his podcasts, called Getting Curious. And he had a woman on there who's really interesting. She's actually worked at Hinge now for a while. Hinge is one of the apps I use probably
Okay.
more than others. Her name's Logan Ury. And she wrote a book and has done a bunch of background research kind of on the psychology of dating. And there's also a new Netflix show called The Later Daters that just, I think, launched last week. But hearing her interview and hearing her thoughts, I went ahead and bought her book. It's called How to Not Die Alone.
Oh, that's cool.
Which, it's depending on how existential you are, it's a bit ironic or maybe just surprising to me because you die alone no matter what. Okay, everybody, so just don't be
Right.
sad about that. It's just true because you're only you in your brain. But if you mean literally someone in proximity, okay, fine. I think that's what they mean.
Right.
Okay. Welcome to Jordan's brain. So, I haven't gotten the book yet. We'll see what happens. She has a quiz online that sort of assesses where are you in the dating mechanics. And it turns out, according to her quiz, I really think I'm going to get the next best thing every time.
Oh, that's
so I'm
interesting.
like, well, why would I settle for this if I could do this, if I could do this? And I'm not surprised about that pattern because having been single now for almost 8 years since my divorce, I've dated a bunch, and so I absolutely, in some ways, recognize that there is more out there. So it's something I have to think about and contextualize. But um, I've gone on a couple dates. They're okay. One thing I have recognized is that I don't feel like the men out there that I'm seeing are really revealing the information that's helpful. What is your job? What are your hobby? It's so basic.
Right.
Like, it's like, what is your truth? And if they are, then so be it. But there's something missing. Like, I've gotten to the point of conversation and matching with a number of people who leave out these big chunks. Like, this one guy has like 4 kids between 12 and 20, 4 girls.
Oh my gosh.
And we're like on a date and I'm finding this out. And I'm like, okay, like,
That's probably
what
something
is
that should have been mentioned pretty.
right?
That's first
I don't
meeting kind
know.
of stuff,
I don't know. Or
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then you can also have the opposite. You have the 5th date questions on a first date for those people, and you can instantly
That
tell
it's
if they're
too
very
much.
desperate.
That's true. That's
This
true.
is someone who's instantly looking at, do they want kids? Do they want to get
Yeah.
married? Where do they want to live for the rest of their life?
Sure.
Do
And
do
some
they
of
have an
those-
IRA? Do they?
Do they
I
have
mean,
an IRA?
I mean, it's like all
Oh my
that.
gosh.
That's not first date
Okay,
material.
okay.
And maybe we should actually have someone on to talk a little bit about first dates. That might be a good topic.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, so it's hard. But
Yeah.
there are some new apps out there. I mean, from a gay point of view, Grindr and Scruff are still the 2 biggies.
Are they? Okay.
They're the ones that you have most people on. There's a new one called Archer.
Archer.
Yeah, and Archer is owned by Match,
Uh-huh.
Match.com.
Is it for Sagittarians?
Yeah, right. It's for and it's built on relationship rather than hooking up,
Oh.
which is interesting because it goes for all the social aspects first.
Wow.
And which is nice. It's a nice way to
like,
kind
are
of
you
look
social?
at things.
Do you even go out?
Right.
Are you a friend person? Are
Right.
you
The
a-
categories
okay,
are different. The kinds of
Oh,
questions
wow,
you
that's
answer are different.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. It's still kind of limited in the number of people here
Okay.
in the Midwest
Yeah.
using it. It's certainly great if you're East Coast, West Coast,
Is
Chicago.
it? Is it like a New York,
Yeah,
LA
Miami.
thing?
Yeah,
Miami,
San Francisco.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
But there are more here locally now, so
Okay.
you can check that one out. There's another one called Sniffles, and this has got to be the most
Sniffles.
interesting thing I've seen.
Wait a second.
I'm
For
not
when
telling
you're
you to
sick?
go check it out, like spelled like Sniffles. And it works like this. It's actually map based. So you can look at a map and see where the nearest people are to you that are looking to hook up. And then you can touch the little blue dot.
And you'd be like, I have
and you
COVID,
can-
but so do
And
I.
like, I'm 2 blocks away from you. You want to hook up?
Whoa.
Oh, it's horrible.
I don't know.
Now, here's the
I
interesting
guess
thing.
it depends on what you're really going for.
Yeah, it's become incredibly popular. It's
Mhm.
sort of it's never going to take over
Sniffles, like-
Grinder.
Like sniffing someone out? if
Yeah,
they're
like
right
sniffing
near
them
you?
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Yes. Yes. And you also have to be willing to allow location services
Oh, sure.
on
of
your
course.
phone,
Yeah, otherwise,
which
what's
a
the
lot of
point?
people have turned off. Of course, for those people that have only looked at straight dating apps, Grinder does that as well.
Okay.
So does Scruff.
Yeah.
Scruff does it from
Like
a
feet.
distance point
Yeah.
of view.
Okay.
Grinder does it from feet. So if you're in
Wow.
a restaurant and someone's
I
10 feet
know.
away from you, it'll show up.
I don't know if that would be cool or not for what I would. Probably not. I'd rather have some like notice.
Oh, I think so. No, you can turn that stuff off, but then you have very general,
Of course.
whatever. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. My life on the apps has not been going very well.
Oh, man.
I've updated photos. They look really cute. They look
Yeah,
really nice. They
good.
look really good.
Good.
But it's the same people. I have to
Is
say.
it?
Yeah. So,
that happens.
I'm
too,
I'm
on
kind of looking
this
for a
end,
more
yeah.
serious relationship.
Okay.
I don't really need a hookup. I'm kind of beyond that at
No,
this point.
exactly. I agree.
If it happens, it happens. But it's just I'm
Well,
kind of beyond that,
yeah.
And there are more people looking for relationships, so that's kind of
Okay.
nice. But when you set your filters, so let's say 30 to 50 is what I
Sure.
set my filter
Sure.
for,
That's about my range.
and someone who's single, not someone who's like open relationship looking for a
E&M,
hookup.
poly, all
you
that,
know?
which good for
Yeah,
them.
and
That's
friend
not-
and
but it's-
FWBs, right? Friends with benefits. And
Okay,
that's great
no,
for them. There's
great.
nothing in it for me.
Nope.
But then I log on, and
Mhm.
over time, it starts whittling down and whittling down and
That's
whittling
right.
down.
I
So
know.
every time I log
Yeah.
on, it's the same 6 people.
Oh.
If it's anyone, at least within a 15-mile radius.
Okay.
If it's someone new that logs on, they're visiting, or they're
Right.
checking
like
out.
game days. That's
Right.
the worst
Right.
days. To
Game
look.
day, yeah, game days. You often get a lot of new
On
people
the
on
football
there,
game. Oh,
and they might be interested in a relationship, but I'm not interested in a long distance relationship
Correct.
with someone who lives in Chicago that
It
came in for
depends,
the
but yes,
Northwestern game.
agree.
you know?
Agree.
Unless they're planning on moving to Ann Arbor, I'm not planning on moving to Chicago.
Yeah. Like, do
you know?
we? I guess it's a question. Do we need to be open to those conversations to
Yeah.
meet more people? It's
Yeah.
something I think about sometimes because I
Well, I
work
think you
sometimes out
do.
of Grand Rapids. I work for a company in
Mhm.
Grand Rapids now, and I just wonder.
Yeah, would you be
it just
willing
sort
to
of
move to
makes
Grand
me-
Rapids?
I-
It's a beautiful city.
Maybe.
I don't think I could live there because of how politically right wing it is.
Yeah, I could, but it would take a while.
Yeah, but
It
they
would
do
be
have a
like
lot
a
of arts. They
part-time
have
thing.
concerts. They
They
have
sure
all that
do. I
kind of
enjoy
stuff.
visiting, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there in a couple weeks. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they have
it's
comedy clubs. They're
yep, good
very close
concert
to Battle Creek and
venues.
Kalamazoo, and
Yeah, I don't know.
they're close to the beaches
Yeah.
for weekends. So yeah, I mean that's people that live in Grand Rapids love Grand Rapids.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
would I want to live there? No,
No.
I moved back to Ann Arbor after living in New York and after living in Orlando, and
Sure.
just no, I'm back.
I agree. I am too. So I don't know, but just interesting dynamics. I guess I want to meet someone who really is trying to be themselves. Like when I read my profile or show someone my profile, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is great," or
Yeah.
"This is you." And like, I don't know if everybody's doing that. Or
Yeah.
Logan Ury has some great uh, recommendations on how to set up your profile and
Yeah.
and such on her website. So I do recommend that. Maybe we can put a link
Yeah,
in our
absolutely.
notes
We
of
will do
this.
that. Yeah, we'll do that when
And
you
I'll
look at this.
share feedback on her book when I read it, which should be probably when it arrives.
Yeah,
at
I
least
also
part
like
of
the
it.
way it categorized kind of you. I mean, I think I can probably categorize myself. I'm like one of those people like, prove to me, you show me.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm one of those people.
So it takes
Because,
you a while to trust.
I mean, I've been single so long
Right.
that I can do everything independently. I don't need
Right,
anybody in my
right,
life to do
right.
anything. I go to shows, I go to concerts, I do whatever by myself, or I
Right.
invite a friend,
Sure.
and I am not looking for someone to fit into their life. I'm
Yeah.
looking for someone to fit into mine. And you show me you can fit into my life.
Sure.
And that's hard, I think,
Right.
to get when you get to that point where you really don't need anybody else.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have somebody else,
If they were
but I don't need them.
as independent as
Yeah.
you,
I would love that.
and they had a vibe of, well, Ron, I want you to fit in my life.
Yeah.
I wonder what that would look like.
I think that would probably work.
Would it?
I think
Okay.
someone who's very independent,
Yeah.
but likes to
Yeah.
have like a BFF and a relationship and do things together and
Right.
have that one person they can call their special partner.
Right.
That would fit in great. But if someone was not looking for that, that
Right.
would not fit in. And the same as always, when you look at the apps, a lot of the folks are transient. They might live here for a year
Okay.
because they're a grad student,
Mhm.
or they might be a visiting professor for a year, and their interests match mine like 100%. And then they're moving back to North Carolina,
After that.
or they're moving
So
back to
it's
San
not-
Francisco, or I'm like, I love those cities, but I'm not moving there. you know?
Wow.
So I'm looking for long term. I'm not looking
Okay.
for short term necessarily, because I'm like I've said before, I'm terrible at breakups. So it would be a big, dramatic, horrible breakup if it was a short term thing.
Okay.
Long term, I'm willing to risk that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
But either way, it doesn't really matter when you look up in the apps and there's only 6 people, and it's the same
And it's the
6
same
people. If I open it up to 20 miles, it doesn't give me much more. It might give me
Right.
like 3 more, 4 more people.
Sure.
If I open up to 50 miles, yeah, then I get them. But now 50
Mhm.
miles means Flint,
Can't-
Macomb, Ohio.
I think I could do Canada.
That's too far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Canada, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably do Ohio too, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But when you're settled here, your life is here.
Right.
It's hard to say I'm going to go date someone that lives 30
Mhm.
miles away
Mhm.
or 50 miles away, unless they're always willing to come to Ann Arbor, and you're never going to find a long-term
Mhm.
relationship that way.
Okay.
So things kind of dry up. So then you check out things like Archer. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's maybe
That's
some
so
new
interesting.
possibilities there.
There is a website I haven't tried yet. It's not an app, which makes me curious about the level of participation on it. Because
Mhm.
if they don't have enough funding and activity to be an app, and maybe I'm misinformed on what I expect an app to be, but it's a website called Date My Age.
Mhm.
So I might dig into that. That one I mentioned way back called Smitten
Right.
did not come to fruition. I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's more based on couples getting together, maybe, or other activities. But it's
Is
hasn't been for me.
there a Date Way Under My Age app?
Date Way Under My Age? Oh my god!
It's all of them, honestly.
Yeah.
If I didn't set age
Yes, but I
filters
think they're in
on
the
the
dark
local,
web, Ron. I think it's not part of
Oh,
the
it's
web
on the
that
dark
we
web.
use. And-
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I could take off the filters on Grindr and Scruff
Oh my
and all these
gosh.
other ones,
Oh,
and
yeah.
OK Cupid, and
Honestly, when
OK
I
Cupid.
lower the age to like every now and then, if I
Yeah.
just like I'm tired of not having anything to swipe, and lower to the age to 30,
Mhm.
pew, 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 pew,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
major
Yeah.
influx
Yeah.
of single men. But
Yeah.
then it's like I don't know, and it's
It's
I don't know.
interesting. There
I
aren't that
probably
many
will go on some
30.
dates with some younger guys in
Yeah.
the next month or two at some point.
Yeah, if I lower it to under 30, if I go like 24 to 50,
Whoa.
then I'm suddenly going to be filled
Oh,
with
yeah. Oh, of course.
24-year-olds.
Of course. Yeah.
They're who are still in grad school. I mean, it's kids. It's Ann Arbor.
It is.
You know,
It is.
if I lower it to 21 and up, there's
Oh,
suddenly
geez.
100 people on there
So many
that are
people.
all 21.
Yeah.
But that's not what our website is
Right.
about and our podcast is
It's
about.
not. It's about meeting.
We're about
It's
adults.
not about not meeting.
And speaking of that, do you notice how when we talk about apps, how quick the time goes? Because we're already out of time.
Already.
We are
That's
already
it.
out
Well,
of time.
that's it. That's part 2.
Hopefully you learned a lot today, though.
Or just enjoyed what you were listening to.
I did.
Whether or not you learned anything.
I did. Drop us a line. Let us know what makes you a great friend. Let us know what would make us
tell
want to
about
date
your
you.
dating life. Oh. Or
Yeah.
just how your dating life's going,
Yeah,
I mean,
let
or
us know.
If,
If you want to
Yeah.
come in and talk about it, we'll have you on the air and you can tell us about
that
your
would be
dating
really
life.
cool.
We'd love to have you on.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
hook up.
Yeah. Hooking up with Jordan and Ron. Look for us anywhere podcasts are broadcast, and we will see you next week.
Awesome.